All right, we are going to be talking about Obama, and but before we do that, we're going to take a look at The View, who recently had some not so friendly comments towards black men.
But, you know, we can't poll people's hearts and we can't see into people's hearts. And so when we're looking at these polls and we're looking at who is voting for Trump, you've got 53% of white women that voted for him in 2020. We've got to reach those women. We've got to reach those ridiculous, crazy black men that did vote for Trump. We've got to reach those people. We've got to reach the Cuban men and overwhelmingly voted for Trump. I don't know what they're.
All right, we got enough from Miss Sunny Hostin. And real quick before we get back to the screen, look at the people on the screen right now. This is I forget her name, but I forget her name too. But I know actually I forgot her name as well too. Forget. Anyways, all of these women are not black women. Sunny is actually mixed. But the rest of these women are not black women. And so when we hear conversations like this, when we hear like the just media in general, just talking about black men in this way, it actually makes my blood boil. I don't know about you, but when I saw that clip, I was like, there's no way she said that. And then no one else on The View said anything. I'm not expecting everyone to come out and say like, hey, stop that. But somebody should have said something. Somebody should have been like, all right, you didn't disrespect white women. You didn't disrespect Cuban men, but you had all these modifiers to black men. Crazy, ridiculous. Like just discounted the whole reason why black men, first of all, she's assuming that black men, our vote is only owed to the Democratic Party, who hasn't done anything for the Democrats or did anything for the black community in the last 50, 60 plus years, but just went ahead and was just all comfortable with it. And I got a problem. I got a huge problem with that.
I'm not surprised at all. You said it made your blood boil. It actually made me laugh. Look, as we get closer and closer to Election Day, we're going to. I talked about pre-blaming in a previous episode. They were already pre-blaming. So after pre-blaming comes sign language, and she came out guns a-blazing with the shame. Look, she was so cool about Trump winning the white women vote. We got to reach those women. But when it came to the black men, it turned into ridiculous and crazy black men.
Right.
I know what this is. I had to look real quick to make sure her husband was black.
Yeah, I did the same too.
But I'm wondering, I don't want to take those shots at him, but I'm wondering how he felt hearing some stuff like that.
He's mixed. He's mixed as well too.
So he probably agreed. Look, Matt, men standing on who they're supposed to be is going to be uncomfortable for a long time. So folks are going to be uncomfortable. Folks are going to feel isolated, disrespected. They're going to throw out all the misogynies and all the phobias. They're going to shame you, insult you, guilt you, need to be right you. But stand on what you believe, man. I don't discount people based on how they vote. I just ask that you can substantiate your reason for doing it.
Right.
I don't care whether you vote left or right. What I do know is the definition of insanity, as they say, is voting or doing the same thing over and over again and expecting a different result. That's us when it comes to politics. We're insane.
Yeah. And this is going to definitely spill over into the Obama conversation, but this is another instance where we have, and The View, no, I mean, we don't watch The View like that. We just kind of react when it, deemed necessary. But when it comes to The View, they're primarily talking to a white audience. And so we're at that point, or we've been at that point where we see a lot of people just casually talking about black men in a very negative, shameful, and scolding way. I don't ever see this conversation with anybody else, because right now, she's not only doing bad with black men, she's doing bad with also black women. She's doing bad with Muslims, and she's doing bad. Well, I don't know if she's doing bad with Asian men, but that could be a problem down the road for the Asian community. Well, with her in the Asian community too.
You sure she's doing bad with black women? I'd be very surprised if that was true.
Well, I've seen more black women come out against Kamala, but this is the thing. I saw a stat that only, for Obama, he got like 92% of the vote, and then Joe Biden got like a little bit less than that. But she's in the 70s when it comes to the black vote, so she can't afford to lose any votes. Like if she doesn't get 90%, she's done. If she doesn't get 85% from the black vote, she's done as well too. So again, I don't see them talking about this with any other group of men, and she needs the Black community the most, or Black men specifically the most right now. And so I'm going to bring up the Obama clip, but before I do, any additional conversation on this one?
Look, if you stop it for Kamala, I need y'all to understand something. She has to do an interview, have a conversation, some type of town hall, or sit down with the people who don't like her. Stop hiding behind people that like you. You got to do some real work now and convince these people that don't trust you why you can be trusted. Are you going to do that? Doesn't look like you will, because you haven't yet.
Facts. All right.
Speak some truths, if you don't mind. Because my understanding, based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities.
Hey, did you see that?
What's that?
Look over Obama's top left shoulder. They must have had like a script or something ready to go for like, all right, no white people in this shot. Watch.
Based on reports I'm getting from campaigns and communities, is that
they all kind of step to the side in unison.
Yeah, she all behind the fence. There was like no white people are going to be in this shot, just black faces and black voter signs.
Yeah. This is. I have so much to say about this. Let me just start here.
Hold on. Let me let roll for a little bit.
All right, go ahead, let it roll.
Yet see the same kinds of energy and turnout in all quarters of our neighborhoods and communities as we saw when I was running. Now, I also want to say that seems to be more pronounced with the brothers. So if you don't mind, just for a second, I'm going to speak to y'all directly and say that when you have a choice that is this clear, when on the one hand you have somebody who grew up like you, knows you, went to college with you, understands the struggles and pain and joy that comes from those experiences, who's had to work harder and do more and overcome and achieves the second highest office in the land, and is putting forward concrete proposals to directly address the things that are vital in our neighborhoods and our communities, from housing to making sure that our mothers and our fathers and our grandparents can afford medicine, and making sure that we are dealing with prices that are too high and rents that are too high, and are committed to making sure that we maintain the Affordable Care Act, so everybody's got help in it, and cares about things like education and entrepreneurship in our neighborhoods. And that's on one side. And on the other side, you have someone who has consistently shown disregard, not just for the communities, but for you as a person.
How?
And you're thinking about sitting out? But, cousin Pookie might be. And you're coming up with all kinds of reasons and excuses. I've got a problem with that, because part of it makes me think, I'm speaking to men directly, part of it makes me think that, well, you just aren't feeling the idea of having a woman as president.
Oh man, oh man.
This
All
is the
right.
biggest direct and reflect that we're seeing in politics. This is such a predictable and old strategy. Look,
Mm-hmm.
when they pushed her to the front, and make no mistake, she was pushed to the front. They knew that Biden was incompetent. They knew that Biden couldn't lead, and they waited this long to take any action on it. That's number one. Number two, Black men, if you're watching this, nobody gives a damn how you feel. So just grind harder, build your own life to your own personal happiness. They're not even listening to your complaints. Unless you are all on board with them and agree 100% with what they want to do and what they say, they're not listening to you, bro. They're just not. All they're going to do is sit there quietly, and everything that you say, no matter how accurate or valid it is, it's going to be sexist or misogynistic.
Right.
When are we going to deal with the real issues? I saw Killer Mike do a discussion style with Robert F. Kennedy. They were talking about real issues in that barbershop, policy. They were talking about the unfairness in child support and family laws. They were talking about men going to prison and giving the fairest chance at a second chance at life. They were talking about economic empowerment for the Black community. And these were men. And notice when I say these are all men talking about this, they said Black community. They didn't say Black men. Because as leaders and providers, we want to make sure the whole community is straight.
Yes.
This is such a disrespect to our intellect for them to just totally take everything that's being said and just sweep it off as being misogynistic or sexist.
Yeah. And it's unfortunate though, because this is how you silence people in general. And one of the things that they always do to Black men, I mean, first of all, it's just open season on Black men, just like you said earlier. Nobody cares. We're just going to get dragged. We're going to get blamed. We've been blamed for a lot of the elections. We got blamed for the 2016 election, even though Black men were the second highest voting group for Hillary Clinton, and then also the second highest voting group for Joe Biden. But again, it's just going to happen. And for Obama to come out here and think he can just do this hope campaign for Kamala Harris is just borderline just ridiculous and delusional, because first of all, he's assuming that, or he's already drank the Kool-Aid that the men that do not want to vote for Kamala is because of misogyny reasons or bigotry, or, you know, you just don't want to you can't have a woman, XYZ, blah, blah, blah. And when it comes to like some of the things that was promised to the Black community, like part of the thing that made me see the light about the Democrats was they were supposed to have the George Floyd Policing Act. That was a 2020 thing. Biden said he was going to create a law for the George Floyd Policing Act. Okay, I was like, yes, we're on that. And then he was going to do voter reform. Okay, yes, on that. And come to find out, like the only thing he did was he pushed a bunch of bills for the Asian community, the LGBT community, and there's been no discussion, any discussion for the Black community to even get the voter reform, which now that, I've had a chance to look at it, that when they say voter reform, that just means that the Democrats want to steal the elections. That's what that means. Or when it comes to policing, they just said that's just pretty much what they needed to say in order to get people's votes. They had no intentions on doing anything like that. And Barack Obama is cut from that same tree or that same community, because Barack Obama does not care about, when it comes to middle-class Black Americans and maybe even low income at times, he doesn't care. He's part of the same elitist Democrats and other liberals that just want to keep power in their party. But Barack Obama is not coming out here. Like, it's funny that we're seeing Barack Obama now, when Kamala was first, pushed around or named as the nominee. Barack Obama took almost a week or two to come out and endorse Kamala Harris. So he didn't want Kamala. And, and I'll end on this point and let you get in there. This just highlights the power that the Black vote has, or specifically Black men. They are worried. And if Kamala doesn't get the vote, first of all, they're still going to blame Black men for this. But this is going to be a slap in the face to the Democratic Party. and they may not win another election. They're going to have to rig elections down the road in order to get back into the White House, because they better hope that they can get some of these immigrants, get them citizenship, because they'll never win another election. Like we've seen the script, and for them to come out and just blast black men like this and acting like we're the issue, now they messed up. They went a step too far.
He said something in that clip that just irked me. She grew up with you and she knows you. No.
Oh,
Canada. She was born in Oakland. She went up to Canada for a while. No disrespect to Canada. I worked for a Canadian employer and some dope folks up there, but
yep.
you don't know us. And again, we were singing They Not Like Us for most of this summer. Why does that apply to Drake, but it does not apply to Kamala? Is it because she went to Howard? Because most people will tell you, when they try to defend her race, which in the grand scheme of things is silly. I'm more concerned about her not having any plans or policies, but they'll try to argue that she's black because she went to Howard and she joined the black sorority.
Right.
And I'm like, that's a silly way to define what being black is. So,
mm-hmm.
But let me take it back to Obama real quick, because I do want to be fair. Full disclosure, I voted for Obama in 2008. I stopped being a Democrat and switched to independent in 2010. But I don't want to sit here and say that he's never done anything specifically for us. I'll just cite two things real quick. The first one is the Brothers Keepers program, though technically that wasn't a federally funded thing. That was something he chose to take on personally, which raised a lot of money for nonprofits, particularly aimed at improving the quality of life for Black men. And then, of course, affordable care, which that affected everyone, not just Black folks, but that is something to be noted.
Mm-hmm.
But let me be clear when I say this too. Obama won as a moderate and then switched to a liberal in his second term.
Yes,
we're not going to sit here and act like the chameleon didn't happen.
Yep.
And I personally, I acknowledge that he was the first Black person to be elected president, but to put him in the same category or classification as Malcolm X or MLK, I think is a bit too much.
Oh yeah, we're done with that.
Yeah, but I see that all the time, and it just sounds ridiculous. But ultimately, what they do, and I like to call this the XX reflect. Anytime a Black man spits out an issue that he's having, or he wants to call something out, they use the powers of the XX to deflect it and knock it back. And that's exactly what's happening here. And men, yes, can use the XX reflect, as we just saw in that video. It's not just exclusive to women.
Yeah, no, I agree, and those are very sound points. I would even give Obama credit on this, that he was the deporter in chief. Like some of the infrastructure that was set up that Trump used during his term, those were set up by Obama. All those cages and those buildings and ICE, that was all set up by Obama. So when Trump said he was going to do this, I don't know why people lost their mind on it. But unfortunately, people have short memories, and the Democratic Party has just been, trying to finesse an election and, tell Black men specifically that you're going to try to shame us into submission again. And I hope more Black men continue to listen to this, and Black women, and pretty much anybody, because this podcast is just talk about current events, and also talk about have discussions that you probably have seen in other places, but we tend to take a different take on some things, or at least present a different perspective. And so I definitely want people to continue listening to us, and having the dialogue, and like I said, definitely be active, and like and subscribe. But when it comes to like Obama, I mean, this is a terrible message for the Kamala campaign, because right now she wasn't even doing that good. She went on The View maybe a week or two ago talking about, or Sunny asked her, would you do anything different? And if you had been the leader, if you had been the president, would you have done anything different? And she said she wouldn't. Like, that is a slap in the face to anyone that said this is the candidate of change. And she said she would not do anything different. Like, maybe not even the immigrants. And Maybe she could even said like, after we did X thing, or after reflection, we could have handled it a little bit differently. No, she think they didn't do anything wrong, and that is a problem, and that's a huge problem to Black men, because when they start letting, at least when they give citizenship to some of these immigrants, that's curtains for a lot of Black men. So unless you have like a degree where it's
Yeah.
going into like a specialty program, that's curtains, because they're going to be taking a lot of those jobs. They're going to be doing things or working the some of the gig work jobs. They're going to be doing some of the construction jobs. So people got to figure out, like, this is a problem for all communities, and whatever happens to the I want to say Stephen A said this message, and he probably got it from somewhere else. When Black people, or when white people catch a cold, Black people catch pneumonia. And so if white people are worried about this migration issue, what makes you think this is not a big deal for Black men? Like, people have to keep waking up, though. And I feel that there's a, good percentage out there, but we still got work to do.
Yeah, look, when people defend Kamala, well, let me start right here, because I said this when we talked about the debate. I said one of the questions I wanted her to answer was, how are you going to be different from Biden?
Yes, yeah.
But I noticed that the Kamala defenders, their defense argument is always, she was the vice president. What do you want her to do?
Right.
If that's the approach you're going to take, then you're basically telling me the VP position is irrelevant. It doesn't properly train you to run the country. So that's a weak argument to me. If you're just telling me this is just a placeholder spot where you're supposed to get on the job training, and it's clear that Joe Biden is capable of doing on the job training, how does that make you feel better about her being the commander in chief? How?
Exactly.
Like this don't make sense, man. And I just wish people would just ask questions. Well, people try to ask questions, but they get shamed into being quiet. And I think people are tired of that, especially in some of these large blue cities that claim to be sanctuary cities. You can easily look up and find people in the community complaining about the problems that illegal migration is causing. I know the news outlets don't want to report and talk about this, but we've seen the reports from places like Vice, for example, where they talk about these gangs in Chicago actually talking about unifying because they're seeing these immigrants coming in with illegal weapons. Like, this is all under her watch. She was the border czar. We know that much about her. We know at the very least she was given that task to do. And again, I've been trying to find some reason to get excited about her, but you got to do better than it's because she's Black. That doesn't work for me anymore, because we need to really stick to policies and fixing problems.
Yes. Yeah. As a best way to end it. And we're gonna, as I think you said this earlier, they're just gonna keep pushing. They're just gonna ratchet it up. And so now they got Kamala, and I couldn't find the clip, or I meant they got Obama coming out. I couldn't find the clip, but Obama had mentioned like something to the fact like, you're lucky Michelle's not here. What the hell is Michelle going to do?
Low key, let's be honest. Obama won that election because of Michelle. Because I guarantee you, if he was married to a white chick or anybody who wasn't Black, he would have lost a lot of support. Michelle was a huge reason why he won that election.
I don't think so. I don't think so, because Biden. Oh, why would they vote for Biden then?
I don't think he wanted Biden. I don't think he ever wanted Biden. I think that was a compromise.
No, I meant in 2020. Why would people vote for Biden?
That was just January 6th was Trump's down. That was the last straw for people. So I think after January 6th happened, no matter whether he was attached to it or not, people were done with him. People were tired of him at that point.
This is before January 6th was before the election, because the election was 2019. January 6th was 2020.
That's what I'm saying. It was before the election.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So there was a bunch of other things, the stand back and stand bys and all the other stuff that he was saying. I think people were just tired of him. But I think now people got what 4 years of Biden looks like, and they're like, if these are my only two choices, at least we know that he is mentally functioning properly. Is that the right choice of words? I don't know. But we keep getting these lesser of two evil scenarios, and any ammunition you pull up on Trump, you can make the same argument against Biden, whether it's moving secured and sharing information, cocaine in the White House, hush money to keep people quiet. Like, look, all these sides got dirt. I don't understand why you're only paying attention to one side's dirt versus the other.
Yeah,
I don't get it.
Yeah, something to ponder on. All right, we are going to go to a fun topic with Cameron and May.